So thank you everyone for joining us today. Slightly different format this month. Delighted to be joined by Ben Sellers. I've had the pleasure of working with Ben for the last 5.5 years, and I know Ben and his team have been responsible for building some of the sort of top performing websites for our clients. So welcome along, Ben.
Thank you very much, Steve. Good to be here and looking forward to talking to everyone about how we can sort of superpower your websites and ultimately try and drive you more leads.
Yeah, great. Now, I know we're going to dip in and out of some slides, which will circulate afterwards, but I know we're usually better when we're talking about ideas rather than doing death by PowerPoint for everybody. But I do know that you do have some sort of checkpoints that you do before you start any project. So if we maybe quickly whip through those, and then we can sort of talk through from there. And this will form part of the 20-point checklist that we're going to give everybody at the end, and the website audit. So
exactly. So I mean, just to fly through this, obviously discovery and architecture is something we always like to start a project with. Move into content. The architecture then drives the ability to start looking at the content, wording, imagery, video. UX on mobile is everything. So we want to talk about that and all the elements that we need to be considering. Speed these days, SEO is very much driven off your speed of your website. Google's algorithms, hang a lot of thought around that, and as do the AI large language models, the ChatGPTs of this world. Valuations, again, it's what every single person on this call no doubt will be, wanting to work out how can we improve on that front. And then, just reminding everyone that the website is on all day and all night, and it's an incredible percentage of leads that will come through while your office is closed. So making sure that the website is performing at its highest around that period. And then actually, I think this can be quite the amount of times I ask people, have you got Google Analytics set up and do you have events and tracking set up on your website? Yeah. That is a massive issue, and there's no point having a website if you don't know whether it's performing or not. And when I say performing, yes, in SEO and Google, we can all go in and put a state agent in area and see where you are. But you don't know whether your valuation form is broken, and you don't know whether it's being tracked. So you need to have tracking and events in place. So this is just some of the stuff that we're going to cover off in this session.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, because I know I talk to a lot of people say, well, I just want a good looking website. And it needs to be so much more than that, doesn't it? Because it really is the sort of the shop window to the world, and it is that lead generation tool for all of your next round of instructions. So it's not a branding exercise anymore, is it? It really is sort of part of the sales team. So
yeah, and it's also not just about looking pretty. There's a lot of things that need to be considered throughout the build process, or if you're taking a template, quite a bit of that will have been considered, but there's still lots more that you could be and should be thinking about when you are actually building a website, whether it's bespoke or from a template. So that's really what these slides are going to keep us on track with. So I think if we do just hop through those, Steve, we can pick on it. So yeah, I mean, this is a big one for me. So the discovery phase is often something that's skipped because you think, oh, well, I bought a template, I know what it looks like. Well, that's not what the discovery is about, is it? It's all about, why do you stand out? What are your USPs? What does your brand do that others in your area doesn't? And we always try and find out, because there'll be other great agents, won't there, in an area. And you need to work out what it is that is your superpower, essentially.
Absolutely. And some firms, they'll say, oh, we've got additional departments, or we're specialists in this part of the marketplace or this particular location in our town. And as you say, unless you go through this discovery process, you just get sort of a cookie cutter of sort of fits everybody, but then misses some of the important areas for your business.
Exactly. And you know, the other thing that we love to find out is, what don't you like? So, you know, people can quite frequently find it easier to tell you what they don't like than what they do like. So, you know, we're having that understanding. So we have a questionnaire that we typically send out. It gathers all the brand information. So, you know, whether all the do's and don'ts with around a brand, that often surfaces the fact that they only have the first half of a brand guidelines, i.e. logo, colors and fonts, but nothing to do with mission, vision, tone of voice, how should the images look like, preferably, you know, something a bit more engaging. So that then steers us into, we start understanding the services, we start understanding the USPs and what the priorities are. And that's when you move into the kind of web tree, you know, the sitemap, content architecture. And that's all about what are the top priorities for the site, and then what are all the pages that will sit below that. That kind of not only helps from a UX user journey perspective, but it also helps from the SEO guys going, okay, so we've got, you know, 20, 30 different pages. How can we map the keywords based on the high search volumes that you're going to find, and actually build the content so that when the site launches, you're already on your way to at least having a chance to be found in Google or the ChatGPTs of this world. So I think that is, you know, that is key, content architecture, and that opens up everything. And as I said, keyword mapping, getting that strategy done, working out where the high search volume keywords are, and then mapping them to individual pages, doing all the things like metadata, meta descriptions, alt tags. They're all very powerful. So
because I know we've taken sites over for clients, and they've got some really good points in their content talking about their years of experience and qualifications, but then sometimes fail to mention where they're located, or whether it's a sales focused business or a lettings focused business. And it's great to know that you've got 25 years of experience and you're ALA qualified or RICS qualified, but you haven't said where you are and exactly what you do. It's hard then, isn't it, for the search engines to understand who your website is relevant for.
Exactly. And then there's this whole element of being more emotive. I feel like all the sites that people love are the ones that have got a bit more touchy-feely language in the site, you know, rather than just property management, you know, a bit more sort of engaging, a bit more kind of, you know, making people feel like you're human behind this. It's not just something you really care about, a bit of passion behind it. Because in reality, when we meet all of the clients and estate agents out there, there's a shed load of passion. There's a lot of people that are really actually, you know, when they're in their meetings, when they're presenting, when they're going to the valuations, they've got all sorts of tricks up their sleeve. But how often does it not make it onto the website? So the thing that's working 24 hours a day for you, you know?
And although it's properties that most people are dealing with, it's the people that you choose to deal with, isn't it? You would choose a firm because you like the people. You've maybe sort of seen them in the area or seen them in video, which I think actually brings us on to one of your next points about the sort of value of video.
I mean, the other thing about content is trying to sort of not only communicate the services and everything, but build that element of kind of trust. And I think we all know the value of reviews. I think in our everyday life, whether it's booking a holiday, looking to buy something off Amazon, we're all over the reviews. So I think most agents these days will know that everything is around your Google reviews. And funnily enough, now actually, because of the large language models, are looking at other signals beyond just Google reviews. So Trustpilot is useful. All agents, literally all of those are starting to get, you know, come up in the source of the sort of question and answer machines that AI are working around. But without doubt, if you can get a testimonial video, there's nothing better than that. You can't hide behind, you know, maybe has that been faked, that review? If someone is actually sat there and actually talking to you, saying, even if it's just on your phone as well, I actually quite like it when someone is just sat on their sofa on the phone it just feels so real. And,
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't need to be perfect, and it only needs to be like 30, you know, seconds or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, you know, try and get those the customer testimonials out there. You just have to ask, you know, everyone's got their favorites. And, you know, it absolutely is proven to increase your conversions. You know, I mean, here you can see it's a 10% uplift on conversions from the video testimonial page. So, I mean, why wouldn't you do that? You know?
And that's it. Everyone's got a high quality sort of cameras and videos in their phones all the time, haven't they? And everyone's got a phone with them, so it is pretty quick. And I mean, now I find sort of younger generation, a lot of the time it is video calls. It's FaceTime calls that they're making rather than voice calls. So it's not like where we were years ago of like, oh, well, I'll have to find somebody who's got a video camera and I'll have to do this. And don't like doing it. I don't normally do it. Whereas now everyone's used to being
call
online.
them up if you want and talk to them and say, hey, do you mind just saying, you know, how you felt about the transaction, you know, whatever it is. And the other thing to mention is that those reviews, they help you smash it on your Google, you know, and if you got your Google business profile, which we also handle a lot of those, I mean, like 1,000 of those or something like that, driving people into the map pack. That video content can be posted on there. It can be posted into your Instagram, into all your other socials. So it can go in your emails, you know, it's all useful stuff. And at the end of the day, it ticks that box that these guys are the good guys, you know? So yeah, that's just some thought around content. And then, you know, I think this is a point that we all need to, you know, I mean, I do spend a lot of the time in desktop view when we're designing sites with clients, partly because I think on the whole, it's easier to visualize what you're getting and map out your pages. But the truth be known, only 30% of people are actually looking at it in that mode. 70% now, or 65 to 70%, this is pretty consistent stat, says they're on the mobile. So, you know, you got to think to yourself, your phone is the website now. That is the mechanism that people
That's it. If people aren't about, it's on the phone. And I think most people, if they've spent all day looking at a laptop screen, they probably want to put the laptop away when they get home and have their phone or maybe their tablet and do it in a format that's convenient for them. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. As you say, from your side earlier, 70%. I wonder when we'll get to the point of it will be 3/4 of people, because that stat has been going up and up almost every year, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Since phones got better and connections got better, everyone's just gone, well, I'll do everything on my phone if I can.
Yeah, well, I think so. And you know, the other points that one needs to remind yourself about is these elements. These are key when you're designing a site, getting that navigation right, which is all back to the content architecture in the first place. I can't believe how many sites have got, you know, 10, 11, 12 headings. They're all wrapping and overlapping and all the rest of it. Now with these beautiful drop-down menus, and obviously you've got burger menus, you can reduce this down. I mean, this is 6 to 7, but actually if you can get down to 4 or 5, definitely on desktop, in the knowledge that if you then need to drill down, you can always jump into the mega menu or go via the burger menu. But on the phone, you know, I think if you have an overload running down that burger menu, again, you're diluting it. So we spend a lot of time focusing on that aspect. I think the next one is making sure that, you know, you've got your primary call to action on every single page of the site, you know, above the fold, always above the fold. Don't let people see some pretty picture and some text and then have to find where to value my property or contact or get the mortgage, you know, whatever it may be. That page should be working for you, shouldn't it, at the end of the day?
Absolutely. And it's always looking at what's that next logical step. If somebody's clicked through to your seller's page and you're talking about how fantastic you are, you don't want to have to go, oh, I've got to go all the way back to the beginning or scroll back up and around to find the book of valuation. You want to make that sort of journey really sort of quick and simple for them.
Yeah, and the floating call to action on mobile. So at the bottom of the screen, you've always got, you know, 1 or 2, max 3 ability, put the valuation, make an inquiry, make a phone call. It doesn't matter how long that mobile page is, you're never having to look. It's just always there, like an app. We like it to feel like an app. And then again with forms, you know, there's this tendency to just ask too much in a form. And we know that there's a massive drop off every time there's an extra field. So, you know, again, with valuations, if you can just have name, email, phone, and then postcode lookup, preferably. The beauty of that is you just start typing your address or your postcode, bam, there it is on your phone, and it's populated the entire address. You know, it's all about making it frictionless, really easy. And even the buttons, not just submit, you know, get your free valuation, you know, actually state what it is, because people's minds, they spot something. Oh yeah, I want that. I'll get a instant valuation rather than, you know, send or whatever it is. No, that's not good enough. So yeah, that's a little bit about mobile and sort of some of the UX elements. I think this is an area, Steve, that you and I often, you know, talk about, which is, you know, clients, they'll get the website, and if we're not being, you know, quite sort of bullish about, you know, what you need to be thinking about, they'll just be wondering later, oh, my site's gone live. Why am I not visible? Why am I not, you know, coming up in Google? And I think that's, you know, again, why it's so important to actually start considering more than ever, actually, because of the movement from just Google into AI as well. I think Gartner has quoted that by 2030, 40% of searches will be done in chatbots, which is a lot. Now, yes, a good chunk of that will be Gemini, which is still Google, but actually working out why and how you do that, how you get visibility. One, it's content. The other is your structured data, making sure that you've got all the frequently asked questions, preferably on every single page, because these answer engines want to know, you know, who answers the question the best, the most. And that's how they choose, you know, or one of the key reasons they'll find you and surface you. And we're really seeing a lot in analytics that we're getting referral traffic coming, you know, already, and leads and valuations directly from the large language models.
Because I suppose it is a case of people ask probably more questions of their sort of chat GPT or wherever they're going, don't they? It is more, as you mentioned earlier, that sort of questions and answers rather than typing in a search name. So rather than estate agents in Derby, you might search who's the best estate agent in Derby for selling 4-bedroom houses, or or dealing
10,
with
this,
with
that, and the other. You're writing whole sentences now. So it's not just the keyword that you need to worry about. You still need to worry about it, and that will still help. But yeah, as you can see on the right hand side, well, the left hand side, we've got all the normal mapping, as I mentioned earlier, with all your metadata and so on. But on the right hand side, it's that Q&A blocks. You know, we've always had an element of frequently asked question, but it was always a bit of an also ran sort of jargon buster. It wasn't really working from a search perspective. Now it really is. And, you know, it also gives you a chance to just add that whole next level to your local aspect with area guides. And also there's a point about making your experts, you know, really stand out and be the authority in their areas. So by having bios that actually express not only the passion that they have for property, but also some of the knowledge and the experience they've had, gives you a good excuse again to sow more of these kind of questions and answers into those. So it's finding those places to be cited on all those channels.
And I know you'd also said about that sort of speed of the website, so having it on a great platform.
Yes. So you know, if your website is not running fast enough these days, you're going to be punished. It's sort of the 3-second rule. If it's not loading, you know, as this says, 53% of mobile users will leave.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's all your core web vitals that that we call it, that is in your sort of in your web console, in Google console. You can see all of this information, and your, you know, your web developer or web provider should be looking at all of that. I mean, our SEO teams are continuously optimizing those kind of things. So not just the speed, but also the responsiveness. So the INP, and I can't for the life of me remember exactly what that stands for, but I know it's to do with responsiveness. So if the actual page responds properly, and then also, is the page stable? So you get a lot of movement. I don't know if you notice sometimes in mobile, you can move your finger and the whole page moves from left to right. You get penalized for that, because that's another bad experience. So lots of things that you just need to, and they're all invisible, but they're really important, and they are part of the reason why you're just not going to be, you know, getting to page 1 of Google.
So obviously, Ben, that's really going to help with getting people onto the website. I suppose the next challenge is always, where's my next instruction coming from? And that will always start with evaluation, won't it? So what's sort of the best sort of strategies from that side? And I'll jump back into those slides, because I'm sure you've
well, no, I think, you know, one of the key things is to make sure that, as I said earlier, that the form that you've got on your site is easy to fill in. Yeah, that's a massively important thing. Is it easy to fill in? Is it simple? Another thing is, don't just have a valuation form. Give a bunch of qualifications down the right-hand side of the form of why they should fill in this form. You know, that you get 101% over asking price, that you'd sell properties in 3 weeks or get them under offer within 3 weeks, whatever it is, you know, that you've got X many thousand 5-star reviews, all of those things. You know, e-commerce, they're so good at it. They're always giving you a whole bunch of reasons why to buy that thing. And, you know, just having an ugly form, we all hate forms. So give them something to encourage them, make it easy. As I said, all the postcode lookup. And, you know, it's got to be able to fill in super quickly. And then the other thing is, you've got to make damn sure that these are making it into the CRM, you know? So, because, you know, our job is half the battle, isn't it? Is getting the leads, whether it's an instant valuation lead, which is a great data capture, and we've got our own tool that we use as part of the Lead Pro product. And, you know, there's no doubt that you can get a higher volume of instant valuations. A lot of agents will say, oh yeah, but they're just tire kickers. We've called them, and then no one answered. And we know for a fact that if you email them, you stick them into a nurture series, whether it's through your CRM or through your email software, that's gonna be a winner.
Yeah, I think you're right, Wim, because not everybody wants to have to tidy the house, take the day off work, invite what are 3 or 4 strangers into your house. You want to sort of go, well, is it in the right ballpark? If it is, great, I might take that step. And if somebody's keeping in touch with me, because you might do that with 3 or 4 different times, and if you're the agent that's kept in touch with somebody over the next 6, 8 weeks, whatever it may be, you then go, great, I'm definitely having Ben out to value, because he's given me lots of useful information and content along the way, and kept in touch. Because I've done it myself when we've been when we've been shopping around for different things, and you can't always remember whose websites you went on, but somebody retargets you, somebody emails you or rings you, and then you build up that bit of rapport, and then you go, okay, of the 4 people, one's maybe stood out, and that's it. That's the secret sauce, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's somewhere or other, whether it's keep calling, and we've obviously now got this, you know, voice AI that under the Nurture banner, which is making outbound calls, responding to inbound calls for those that the humans haven't managed to convert or get hold of. But it's better than not calling them at all. It's a lot better than not calling them at all. And then teasing them in with emails, a sequence of emails as well. giving them the ability to jump into a chat, at any point. And we're finding that, the leads are coming through all sorts of channels. I mean, funnily enough, I find them quite frequently appearing in individual direct bio, or not bios, in individual employees' pages. People are just emailing them because they know them and they're getting a valuation directly there. But it is a case of making sure you got it tracked and and what's working, what isn't.
I think you were saying earlier as well, Ben, that we're a sort of 24-hour society now, aren't we? So yeah, the days of 9 to 5, Monday to Friday for most people have changed. And if you are still working in that pattern, you might not be able to reach out and talk to somebody during somebody else's office hours because you've got everything else going on in your own day. So yeah, having the website always on is important. I suppose a lot of that AI strategy and auto callers can work out of hours as well.
Well, exactly. Yeah. And actually getting a response, so these instant valuations, they normally respond, give you something. And if it, depending if you've got lead management tool, it will be qualifying that lead, not just finding out whether they want a valuation, but, do they need a mortgage? Do they have a property to sell? Whatever it may be, or they want to buy a property. There's lots of different questions that you can be asking, but 60% of property inquiries outside of the 9 to 5. I mean, I know a lot of agents don't work 9 to 5, but they're not working all night.
No,
and, so yeah, having a variety of different tools on your site working for you. I think we have this managed chat through Yomdale, which is always proven to be great. Humans and AI, you can have a combination. It can be, web chat, it can be WhatsApp, it can be Facebook Messenger. All of those channels can be managed, and they're quite frictionless as well. And then getting it, booked into a calendar. So you come back in the morning and, oh my God, it was Friday, and then I come in on a Monday and I've got, X many valuation leads booked in, which is, great. I mean, I've always been a fan, Steve, of the likes of Calendly. Finally, some of these CRMs have woken up to having half decent calendar booking capabilities so that this kind of thing can happen,
It is fantastic, isn't it? When you open up your emails in the morning and you see that somebody was on the website at 10 o'clock at night and you're now seeing them lunchtime that day to talk about about their sort of marketing needs. Yeah, having the estate agent equivalent of that is perfect as well. And if you've got all of that tracking and you've got all of those lead sources coming, you can get all of those measurements, can't you? And say, I know how good my website is. Because again, if you've got a member of staff, you'd want to know what they're up to. You'd know how many viewings they'd booked, how many valuations they'd booked, how many calls they've made. You want to get to that level with the website as well, and which are the campaigns that are delivering traffic and which ones, for whatever reason, haven't hit the spot. Go back and work it out once you've got that data.
Yeah, and I think it's amazing how all the different channels working in harmony, the digital channels, whether it's your SEO, whether it's your paid search, your social media, paid social, email, LinkedIn, whatever it may be, you want to be able to track and know everything that's going on so that where your money's being well spent and where it isn't. So the whole attribution area that we mentioned here, we're laser focused when we're running, whether it's websites or digital marketing. We want to make sure that we can preferably showing off what we've achieved. So when we'll take on a new website, we'll do a baseline report so that we know this is where you are right now. This is where you're appearing on page 1 of Google, this, that, and the other. This is how many leads you're getting, assuming they've got goals and events already set up in Google Analytics. And then when the site goes live, you've done all your 301 redirects and all the rest of it, which is critical because you can lose a lot of traffic if you don't. You can then see how that site is growing over time, and then you start switching on. I mean, we manage across Nurtur a lot of paid search, hundreds of thousands of pounds a month. So we know what's working, what isn't working. And as I mentioned earlier, whether it's Google Local, which I always say is the lowest hanging fruit, amazingly enough, you need to be mindful with things like Google Local that you need your branch pages all written out carefully with the right address details, the right opening hours, because Google very much needs to see the synergy between those and other directories that you would also need to optimize for. But actually having UTM tags is really handy, because then you can actually track campaigns. So this is running a little bit of an ID on the end of a URL for a certain landing page. So you might run a paid search campaign and you can see exactly how well that campaign has done versus more organic traffic, or certain pages where you might have a valuation module, on the selling page or the landlord's page. Which one is actually converting? You might get less traffic to that landlord page, but actually you're getting a much higher conversion rate because you've given them all the information they wanted. So it's not working at all. Like, why is it not working at all? Stop spending good money in paid search or paid social or even SEO because your forms are broken. They're not being tracked properly, or the emails aren't being received. So getting the whole understanding where the leakage is. Leaky buckets are probably, I can't imagine the millions of pounds that are being lost because of that attention not going in. So going back to the beginning of all this, is not just, I got a pretty website, looks lovely on mobile, and I love the video. It's like, are all these aspects being considered? And there's a lot. We've still got more to go.
And that isn't a one-time event either, is it, Ben? Because the one thing that will change is the market changes, your business changes, another agent opens up in town, and suddenly you go, oh, right, well, I've now got to defend my position against those people as well. So I know you'd said about having that as a sort of ongoing, you never finish building the website, almost like painting the fourth bridge, isn't it? That as soon as you've finished it, you've got to go sort of back round and keep that sort of eye on everything to make sure that you've got all of the latest information and you're working as well as you can. So
exactly. And I mean, this was what we said that we wanted to have for everyone at the end of this, really, which is, are all these points, I mean, this is not exhaustive, there's more to come, but ultimately, you got to make sure that you clear USPs are being communicated. USPs, like why should I use you over and above? People have got moments in time before they switch over to something else. Obviously, that's in your website, it's on your socials, in your videos. Can I get to book evaluation above the fold? Can I inquire easily? On the mobile, are they floating? The CTAs, the calls to action. Will that page load within 3 seconds? If it's not, you're just being punished, heavily punished, and your competitors are winning. Are all your core web vitals, as I mentioned earlier, responsiveness, speed, the fixed structure of your website, is it floating around or is it nicely built? Have you got too many fields, in your forms? Can you reduce them down, preferably to 4? And making sure that you've got that call to action copy that drives you. Great photos, bios, brilliant videos and testimonials, proper area guides. Actually be thoughtful in your area guides. They've got to have video these days. I mean, by the way, this time of the year, June is the best time. June, July.
Yes, everywhere looks perfect, doesn't it? Yeah.
And it's, even on a day when we've got a bit of rain and a bit of sun, everything's looking fresh, everything's looking lovely. If you leave it to late August, September, everything starts burning and looking a bit burnt out and all the rest of it. I mean, preferably you do them all year round, all seasons, but with the likes of AI these days, there's no excuses for not having some really thorough content on your website. Area guides, yes, you put some human curation over the top of that, but I think those kind of things are really important. And
I know that we'd said for everyone that what we would do is circulate that that checklist,
Yeah.
so that they can go through that at their sort of own leisure.
Yeah.
We can also do sort of a website audit. So if somebody goes, well, actually, I'm not scoring very highly on that 20, we go, well, actually, let's have a look and see what we could do for you, what the best way of solving that solution is, whether it's a bespoke website, whether it's sort of a template. Because for me, the
Yeah.
website sort of sits at the center of everything you do, doesn't it? You scan a QR code, somebody's on your website, you've posted on social media, there's usually a click through, or somebody Googles you,
Exactly.
or yeah, it's
Yeah.
very, very rare that somebody doesn't end up on your site. And the biggest one is probably now. I mean, back in the day when I was new, you used to leave these glossy brochures behind for everybody and go, "Oh, this
Yeah.
is what we do, and we're fantastic at selling property or letting property." Well, I'd imagine most people now go, "Oh, well, Ben came round, gave us a great price, talked about all the right things." But I go, "Oh, well, I wasn't here. Well, let's jump on his website and see what he's like." And if that website doesn't match up with what you've been talking about, all that
Yeah.
hard work of getting the valuation going out there is diluted, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think what we will do also, because obviously today we've been just talking about the things you can do, we can
Yeah,
also share some links to some examples that people at their leisure can have a look at.
yeah,
Look at it on the mobile, see what we mean by the floating CTAs and the calls to action above the fold and the
yeah.
emotive content and all of those kind of sticky elements that we're talking about, which
Yeah.
we'll share some of those as well. And I think hopefully that will be helpful. And
Great. I think
obviously,
that really just sort of brings it to life, doesn't it? When you get, oh, that's what they meant. Yeah, I'd love that. I don't have that at the moment, or I've seen that when I've been buying other things. That made my life easier. Why aren't I doing that in my estate agency business? It's all of those things, isn't it? So
yeah. And
yeah,
obviously, without being, well, I'm always said that I'm sellers by name and nature. If anyone can would like to have a website or some digital marketing, Steve and I are here ready to go. Looking forward to hearing from you, and hopefully we can, create something awesome.
you left it right to the last minute, Ben, to create the
I had to
awesomeness.
slip it in.
Thank you. Yeah.
Uh,
Well, as always, I think we said we were going to aim for sort of 30 to 40 minutes. We're closer to the 40, which is what normally happens when the two of us start
yeah,
talking. But I think everything you've covered there has been absolutely fantastic, Ben. So thanks so much for joining us today. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of people who'll be in touch.
it's a pleasure. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.